Programs like ABC's Scandal, CBS's Madam Secretary, HBO's The Newsroom, Starz' Boss, Showtime's Brotherhood, NBC's The West Wing, Amazon's Outhouse, and of course, Netflix's House of Cards. And because Semmler and Houston in their 2007 book Mediating the Vote observed that programs like The West Wing might elicit comparisons to real politicians from fictionalized ones, my fall 2014 political communication class investigated and reviewed several studies that examined the influence of televised political drama on political attitudes. So, for example, the FAO 2007 study that I just mentioned, what we found is that in 2004, viewers of The West Wing expressed a preference to vote for the Democratic presidential candidate at the time, that was John Kerry. And Hobart et al. In 2003, as well as Moy and Fao in 2000, found that viewers of The West Wing actually had a better view of the presidency than people who didn't view The West Wing. Now, interestingly enough, and perhaps unfortunately, contemporary televised political drama does not really depict politics in a very favorable way. There are programs like Starz' Boss. In Starz' Boss, a powerful Chicago mayor will stop at nothing to hold on to his political position despite the fact that he has been diagnosed with terminal dementia and is slowly going insane. And of course, in Netflix's House of Cards, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives will use any means necessary to secure the presidency and to secure his place in history. Now, interestingly enough, what President Obama said in a December 17, 2014 issue of Time magazine is that he wishes that the real Washington, D.C. was more like the Washington, D.C. presented in Netflix. He actually said something along the lines of, now, Frank Underwood, that's a guy who can get things done. And in contrast to that Democratic politician's praise of the House of Cards, William Ron of the Daily Caller in a February 17, 2014 issue observed that House of Cards is, quote, a stunningly right-wing piece of entertainment, unquote. Because of these contradictory comments on House of Cards, my fall 2014 political communication class and I did a content analysis of House of Cards to investigate it for ideological bias. And so the first thing that we did is we defined what ideological bias is, and to do so we used Petrosik's theory of issue ownership. What Petrosik argues is that Republicans are perceived by the public as strong on some issues, whereas Democrats are perceived by the public as strong on other issues. So, for example, Republicans are perceived as strong on national security, the budget, jobs, foreign affairs, and energy, whereas Democrats are perceived as strong on the environment, unions, education, retirement, and women's issues. So what we expected is that if House of Cards has a right-wing ideological bias that is conservative bias, then it will mention Republican issues in the fictionalized drama more than it will present or talk about Democratic issues. So what we did is we watched all of Season 1 and all of Season 2. We counted every time a political issue was mentioned. And then we counted every time a Republican issue versus a Democratic issue was mentioned. And then we were able to represent as a percentage value the percentage of issues that were Republican versus the percentage of issues that were Democratic. And so what we found is that in fact, House of Cards does have a conservative bias, surprisingly enough, because Frank Underwood is a Democratic politician. But the issues that are discussed in House of Cards, overall, 55% of those issues are Republican issues, and only 45% are Democratic. Now, if we look more closely at those findings, we find that actually in Season 1, there's a slight Democratic bias, but there's an overwhelming Republican bias in Season 2, that is in the 2014 season of House of Cards. Now, we are currently analyzing Season 3 of House of Cards in my in my content analysis class that I'm teaching this semester, and 4 students who helped write this paper, the paper that came out of this study, are co-authors with me on this paper that I am currently in the process of submitting to the National Communication Association Conference for presentation at the upcoming conference in Las Vegas. So That is our study of housing cards that started in my political communication class that is currently continuing in the content analysis class that will go to a national conference, hopefully, as long as the reviewers think it's okay.